Standing at 7'7" or 7'6" depending on the source, Tacko Fall doesn't really blend in anywhere he goes. Combining the fact that he set the NBA Draft Combine records for tallest height in shoes, longest wingspan, and highest standing reach with his one-of-a-kind first name, Tacko is impossible for people to forget. Whether it's because of any one of those attributes or something else, Tacko has quickly become one of the most well-known and adored bench players in recent memory. While his name and size obviously stand out, there is much more to the friendly giant's story. With his size, you may assume Tacko making it to the NBA was a given, but that's actually far from the case, as he was forced to overcome his fair share of adversity over the years. Here's the story of Tacko Fall. On December 10, 1995, the world met El Hadji Tacko Seraine Diop Fall, better known now just as Tacko. He was born in Dakar, Senegal, and that's where he was raised until eventually coming over to the States. Tacko's life story changed when he was 15 years old, thanks to a man by the name of Ibrahima Ndiaye, who was the brother of former NBA player Mamadou Ndiaye. Ibrahima had started the Flying Star Academy in Senegal's capital, so young athletes would have a place to develop and grow their athletic skills, while not losing sight of the importance of getting an education as well. With the academy primarily focusing on basketball, one of the coaches there took note of a 7'3" Tacko playing pickup with his friends in the streets. The coach then alerted Ibrahima about Tacko, who had to check it out himself. He was immediately taken aback by Tacko's size and knew he would be the perfect fit for his academy. It took quite a bit of convincing, but Ibrahima finally got Tacko's mom to allow her son to leave for Flying Star. Even though he had been recognized and chosen for the academy, young Tacko was actually not very good at basketball, as he apparently could hardly even run up and down the court back then. Mamadou, whose playing career had just ended and was then a college assistant coach, came to visit the academy and said he was 7'3", but he could not even dunk the ball because he was so uncoordinated. I watched him practicing, and he would run up and down the floor 2 times and have to come out to catch his breath. He could barely do it. With the size of an NBA player, but the stamina and athleticism of an old man, Tacko's work was cut out for him. He worked his tail off at Flying Star to get better, and after spending nearly a year there, Tacko left Senegal for a basketball academy in Houston at the age of 16. This was the first time Tacko had ever flown on a plane before, and he did so speaking very little English, carrying a single suitcase that had clothes which barely fit him, wearing the only pair of shoes he owned at the time, sandals made by a neighborhood friend. That basketball academy in Houston is where Tacko would meet one of the best big men to ever lace him up in the NBA, Hakeem Olajuwon. Olajuwon taught Tacko all about footwork techniques for big men. Talk about learning from the best. Unfortunately for Tacko, though, that basketball academy soon folded after his arrival, so he was forced to find another home in the States where he could continue to work on his game. The next stop for Tacko was Liberty Christian Prep in Tavares, Florida, where he would go from an unknown raw talent to a viral sensation. While Tacko was obviously focused on his hoops game, he never lost sight of the values instilled in him back in Senegal. He adopted a personal motto at Liberty Christian: your athleticism will fade one day, but your knowledge will last forever. He even set a personal goal to one day become an engineer. The big man worked just as hard in the classroom as he did on the court, eventually graduating from high school with a 4.0 GPA, according to his bio on the UCF basketball website. Not too shabby for someone who came to the US speaking very little English just a few years earlier. That thirst for knowledge off the court was just as strong on it. Tony Atkins, Liberty Christian Prep's basketball coach, said, "Tacko is like a sponge. Everything you give him, he soaks in. You tell him to work on something, he works on it. I told him he had to get stronger, and it wasn't long before he went from being able to do only 4 push-ups to 35. Not only did he grow in terms of height, but Tacko also added muscle and weighed in at 295 pounds. Once his athleticism caught up to size, Tacko's basketball skills came along as well. Heading into his senior year of high school, he was starting to get quite a bit of attention online. Highlight mixtapes of the 7'6" Fall began making their rounds on the internet, as people fell in love with his insane height and ability to dunk while barely getting off the floor. That year was about more than just hype for Tacko, though. He played in one of the top AAU basketball circuits, Nike's Elite Youth Basketball League, or EYBL, and participated in the NBPA Top 100 camp, where only the top prospects from around the country get invited. He really put everything together his senior year of high school, as he averaged 20 points, 15 rebounds, and 5 blocks per game. His play was strong enough to earn him interest from 40 different colleges. But one truly stood out to Tacko: the University of Central Florida. Going back to education again, one thing Tacko appreciated about UCF was their well-respected engineering program. He also liked how close the campus was to his host family at Liberty Christian, and had developed a relationship with UCF's head coach, Donnie Jones, who over the years had closely followed Tacko's development and progression there. While making it to UCF was a major accomplishment for Tacko, it still wasn't smooth sailing from there on out. In the fall of his freshman year, Tacko's eligibility was held up by the NCAA as they had questions about his classes at Liberty Christian. Initially, the NCAA accepted only about half of the core courses Tacko had taken in high school, so he wasn't allowed to practice with the team as a result. That didn't discourage him though, as he asked his coach every day if he could practice with the team. And one day, Donnie Jones finally told Tacko that he was cleared to practice. People on social media rejoiced, as they were going to finally be able to see what Tacko could do against other top D1 talent. As a freshman, Tacko started in 26 out of 30 games played for UCF, averaging 7.4 points, 5.9 rebounds, and 2.3 blocks per game. He only played under 20 minutes a game that year, as he was still adjusting to the speed and continuing to work on his conditioning. But it was clear Tacko belonged, and one thing that stood out, other than his size of course, was his efficiency, as he shot 75% from the field that season. Heading into his sophomore campaign, Tacko's game took a major leap, as he started all 36 games for the Golden Knights, averaging nearly a double-double with 10.9 points and 9.5 rebounds, while adding in 2.6 blocks per game. He took home the American Athletic Conference's Defensive Player of the Year award and even declared for the 2017 NBA Draft, before eventually withdrawing his name before signing with an agent. His junior year was one hampered by a shoulder injury, causing him to only play in 16 games, so Tacko returned for one last run with UCF his senior year. He wound up leading the Golden Knights to the NCAA tournament, where they would set some school history as they won a game in March Madness for the first time ever before falling to Duke 77-76 in a heartbreaking second-round loss. Tacko had given UCF everything he had over his 4 years there, and they absolutely loved him for it. They watched him grow from a hit on social media to a legitimate NBA prospect, but he was still a hit on social media, of course. Even though he was the star of the Combine due to his physical appearance, Tacko went undrafted in the 2019 NBA Draft. Based on what you've heard so far, it should come as no surprise whatsoever that the big man didn't let that discourage him. He ended up signing an Exhibit 10 contract with the Boston Celtics that summer, and a move that, believe it or not, will forever shape Celtic lore. Yes, an undrafted free agent originally signed to essentially a training camp contract with one of the most historic franchises in league history. After playing in all 5 Summer League games with the Seas and participating with them in training camp, Boston officially signed Tacko to a 2-way contract in October, meaning he would split time with the Celtics and their G League team, the Maine Red Claws. Tacko made his big debut for the Celtics on October 26, 2019 at MSG, playing 4 minutes as he scored 4 points and grabbed 3 boards. His first NBA points fittingly came from one of his patented dunks, where he gets 2 inches off the ground, the type that had originally made him famous on the web. Although he played sparingly for the Celtics as a rookie, he quickly became a fan favorite in Beantown. Fans at TD Garden constantly started "We want Tacko" chants during the fourth quarter of blowouts, before totally losing their minds when Brad Stevens would finally tell him to go check into the game. Some of the loudest moments would come from Tacko simply heading to the scorer's table, not emphatic dunks from Jaylen Brown or devastating stepbacks from Jason Tatum. Just Tacko Fall, the rookie undrafted free agent, checking in either up or down 20 points with a few minutes remaining. While he didn't do much in the NBA as a rookie, other than get standing ovations, Tacko did average a double-double in the G League, recording 12.9 points and 11.1 rebounds per game. Whether it was his solid play there, or his rockstar status in Boston, or maybe a little bit of both, the Celtics re-signed him to another 2-way contract in November of 2020. In his second year, he didn't play in the G League though, due to the Red Claws not playing because of the pandemic. He appeared in 19 games for the Celtics, averaging 7.2 minutes, 2.5 points, 1.9 rebounds, and 1.1 blocks. And Tacko actually led the team in field goal percentage for a second straight season, shooting 78.6% as a rookie and 72.4% in year 2. That offseason, Boston said goodbye to a city legend for a second consecutive year. First Tom Brady, then Tacko Fall, as he signed another two-way contract with the Cleveland Cavaliers in September of 2021. This season, Tacko has been bouncing back and forth between the Cavs and their G League squad, the Cleveland Charge. While all of this love from fans over the years could have easily gone straight to Tacko's head, it never did, according to his teammates. His old Celtics teammate Javonte Green said, "From what I can see, I don't think you can do a better job at handling all the attention he gets. He has a heart and a personality as a kid. He's always smiling and always has great energy. He's a great guy. You can tell that he was raised right. He's very humbled. Who don't love Tacko?" Tacko actually may be too down-to-earth for an NBA player, as Jackie McMullen once reported that Enes Kanter, now known as Enes Freedom, had to tell Tacko to stop giving out his phone number to fans who asked. Forgetting his size for just a moment, Tacko's journey to the NBA was an unlikely one, a path filled with plenty of obstacles that Tacko had to overcome. And as he did so, he never lost sight of what was important to him or changed who he was. Whether fans love him for that and/or his physical stature, I challenge you to find someone more well-known and widely adored who has only averaged just over 2 points per game during his career. You probably can't, because there's only one Tacko Fall.